9 billion Catholics in this world.
Mm-hmm.
A host has ended local. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Um,
I don't think I like it.
which effectively makes him, the leader of the largest population of individuals on the
Goodbye now.
planet, right?
Okay.
Speaking
Um,
of leading large populations of people, we are currently live. So, hey, have a
are
great
we
podcast.
live
And
now?
live.
We weren't live when I was. I went right into it, but okay, I
Yeah,
went right into
he's I don't know how these things go with him. Like
it. We're just
like,
guessing on each
we
other.
always want him to do something, and then it's like we never know what he's doing, and then he just says surprise.
We're starting
Um,
now,
it
and I thought I was spinning an interesting little storyline that we could segue in a couple different directions, right? I
didn't
mean,
matter because nobody heard it. So I
nobody
mean,
heard it.
oh,
Nobody
yeah,
heard
it doesn't matter.
it.
So it
All
just
right, let me restart. I'm loving the White Sox hat there, Eli. I mean, I'm
absolutely
assuming that's
new pope.
an
New
ode
pope.
to our brand new pope.
Absolutely, it is. You know, it is. Like this is
You
what we're
know,
doing because he was so wrongly accused of being a Cubs fan. Even in Wrigleyville, put it on their little poster board and
they
whatnot.
did.
New
They
pope.
did.
Had to
They
correct that real
did.
quick.
And
Yeah,
I have no idea why, because he grew up in the far south side of Chicago,
he's in
so
Dalton. He was in Dalton.
yeah,
Like, what do you mean?
he is a hardcore White Sox fan,
Yeah.
and I got to
Whoa,
tell
whoa,
you,
whoa, 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 whoa. I lived in Dalton my 4 years in high school, and I was a Cubs fan. So it is possible.
I guess it is possible.
What high school
I'm
did
at
you go to? You
that
didn't go
is
to you. What high school did you
but
go to?
usually
Thornridge.
the sky is almost always blue, right? I mean,
You say
I grew up
Thorn
in
Ridge or
Hamilton Heights.
Thornwood?
I
No, I
assure
went.
you, I didn't have many White Sox fans up there, so
So I went to
it's just the way the
Thornridge.
world works,
I
you
get you.
know. And don't get me wrong, we're all Bears and Bulls fans, so it all works out. It all works out.
You say Thorn Ridge or Thornwood?
Oh, sir, I was all 4 years Thornridge, and
Thorn
still
Ridge.
a
That's
Cubs
all right.
fan.
So fuck you guys. Anyways, and I had a bunch
No,
of.
I never told you what high school I went to. I went to
Mhm.
Loyola Academy,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
which is Wilmette, Illinois. I guess what extremely popular Chicagoan, really famous for being a Cubs fan, is an alma mater there. Comedian
Oh, are you talking about Bill Murray?
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Yeah, yeah.
He is he is an alma he is a 70 or 71, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, hardcore Cubs fan. So, like I said, I'm a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I get it.
now,
Look, the left on this side.
will
Yep,
the
not on
Catholic Church be blessing new tidings on the White Sox? I don't know. I mean, they're at the bottom of the division. They ain't gonna make no playoffs. So let's skip that tragedy, so I don't make you
There's
guys
still
cry too
time.
much.
There's still time. You calm down with all that. There's still time. That's the beautiful thing about baseball. It's such a long season. Like none of this matters right now. Like none of this matters right now. So like we got time. Look, the Pope, he'll do a couple rosaries. We got this. We got this.
You got this?
Don't,
Okay.
don't worry about it. We
Can we at least make prayers for things that have a chance? Like
that does
uh,
not need to be our line. Go no. The Pope is a Sox fan. You can't make it go Cubs go. No, you can't do that. Like this is terrible. This is blasphemy. This is blasphemy. It's blasphemy. You're going up against the Pope. I don't think you'll win. God is on our side for Chicago. You're on
For
out.
Chicago, I mean, I haven't heard anybody disclaim that he's not a Bears fan.
Oh
So
no. He's definitely a Bears fan. He's definitely like we're not. No, I mean
and hey, that's something positive, right? I mean,
I like it.
obviously, we had a tumultuous draft a week and a half ago. The Bears did some good things. They did some things I don't know if I 100% agree with. And
I don't want to be a part of this podcast anymore. He's about to strike us down. Oh,
I didn't say strike down. I mean,
wait. No. Are you watching what the captions he's putting on? This is our producer. Oh my God, I'm not
Fuck
getting.
the Pope, go Pubs. Oh my gosh. We're
Hey,
going to
if
hell.
you're
We're going to
listening,
hell. We're
John,
going to hell.
this is Mr. Martin. This ain't don't put me on this. I am a Sox fan like the Pope. So
Hey, uh, more power to you, right? I'm just saying. How many losses did they have last year?
we're not worried about that. Look at that.
Yeah, okay.
We're on a few. We didn't
Okay.
get the Pope yet. We didn't get the Pope yet. We got him now.
Okay. Fair enough.
A whole new.
Yeah.
Shut up. Whatever. Anyways, moving on. A draft. Good things, bad things. I look. There's only like two picks that I care about in this draft, and that's Luther Burton and the O lineman Trullo. Like I don't care anything else about these people. That
You're not a big fan of Loveland? I think he was probably the best draft pick.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how we use them. I like when you go back a year prior when he had JJ McCarthy in Michigan. I mean, yeah, he did some great things, some good pass catcher, but I just no. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
At the time, I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed. He's not the player that I wanted them to draft. Well, let's just say that. We all wanted Genty, didn't happen. Now, there was a specific reason, right? The Bears, in theory, had a deal with Jacksonville to move up to 5. But Jacksonville pivoted off of that. They decided, no, we're going to go up to 2 and, grab the best player in the draft. And Cleveland didn't want to trade down again. Right? So all of a sudden, Vegas sits there and, we'll take the top player on our board at number 6, and we'll make it work. So even good for them. The draft didn't go the Bears' way, especially with running backs. And I'll talk about the parts that I am kind of disappointed on, right? But because obviously Gianti was someone that the Bears coveted.
Yeah.
They ended up going Loveland, the tight end from Michigan. Now, at the time, I was surprised because Warren, the tight end from Penn State, a lot of draft nicks had him as the top tight end. But one of the things that one of the draft rumors heard afterwards, and I found very interesting, was there were 6 or 7 teams trying to draft up between 11 and 15 just to get Loveland. When Loveland was drafted at 10, all of these phone calls stopped.
Oh, wow.
And this affected Dallas because I think Dallas's plan was to trade down. But when Loveland got picked at 10, nobody was looking to trade up with Dallas. A lot of people, Dallas had, generally considered one of the weaker draft picks in the first round. But in their mind, they took the best available player at a position in need. And it takes 2 to tango. If no one's trying to trade up, what are they supposed to do? Right? They just have to say, well, let's just take the guy that we know fits into our system. Of course, they get criticized by not taking a running back, similar to my particular criticism of the Bears. But, again, trades became a little tricky this year because, and I really think it was related to Shedeur Sanders just dropping like a rock. Everybody was asking for the moon on these trade ups because everyone assumed someone wanted to come up to get Shedeur Sanders, and he started falling like a rock. Which I'll leave that explanation to you. But as far as the rest of the draft goes, the Bears traded down 3 times in this draft. 3.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the things on our last broadcast, I sat there and I said, I didn't want the Bears to trade down. I wanted them to trade up.
Yeah.
And we find out later that the Bears were desperate to trade up on that second round pick to get Hendrickson.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. He got sniped.
Yeah.
They got sniped 3 times in this draft at the running back position. So that leaves a little that leaves a little hole in the gut, right? I mean, they like I said, they were so aggressive in free agency and trading. You know, why lay down now? Well, but I guess they try to trade up. People were asking for, I want your first round pick next year. I'm like, yeah, no. It's like, okay, fine. And they couldn't close the loop on that one issue, right? I mean, maybe it'll work out fine. I mean, we still have um, the running back we signed last year, and now that the off the line is better, maybe his performance a little better. But it was definitely it left a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, like here's my thing on it. I mean, overall, to be that desperate for a running back, when I don't think DeAndre Swift is this horrible running back. Like for what they made it seem like, I mean, we just had no running back at all. Like just Swift was a bum. That was like the ideology behind like being so. Like I understand trading up to get Ashton Genty, right? Like that makes sense. Okay, fine. But to be that aggressive in all the other rounds, it's like, are we saying that DeAndre Swift is worse than these other running backs that you're trying to be so aggressive about?
Well, I think one thing I read about with Hendrickson in particular was he scored very well with pass protection for a running back, which is not Swift's strong suit. So I think that was part of the thought process. Like,
I mean, that was the whole purpose of getting him, so you can go 2 tight end sets. So you could go do that more often. So you don't need this pass blocking running back if you're going to put in this pass blocking tight end, right?
Well,
the whole goal.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why there were some people shocked about the Loveland pick was he doesn't grade very well as a pass blocking tight. He's a wide receiver. He's basically a wide receiver.
Yeah,
he's a really big wide receiver, and so the first 2 picks of the drafts were more weapons for Caleb.
Yeah.
And granted that must have been, that would have been by design. And, maybe you're right. Maybe this belly aching about not getting a running back into the 7th round isn't, it might be a little overblown a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do believe the rumors that the Bears did try to trade up on that 2nd round pick.
I do believe it. I'm just amazed that they're so aggressive of trying to get it. But I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think with a better offense, DeAndre Swift. I mean, you go back to his days in Detroit. You go back to his days with Philly. The man is a monster. Like he can put up numbers. He can put up rack yards. He can put up like after the first touch yards. Like he's not like just some scrub. That like I understand if we were
completely understand that.
With like Tariq Cohen, like an aging Tariq Cohen, and he was like,
yeah.
We're not
but
like
to be fair, Ben Johnson had Swift for 2 years and let him walk.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was in love with the guy the first time around. So there was precedent there that them looking to pivot off of him was a thought process. But again, that Jacksonville trade up with Cleveland kind of mucked the Bears' plans on that first trade up. I can't speak for that second trade up. I don't know what some of those teams were asking for to move back a few slots because Hendrickson went 1 spot before the Bears pick.
Yeah,
so they were sniped by 1.
Yeah,
I mean, what was the guy 2 picks ahead asking for, right? And again, one of the reasons why I just was not a big fan of this trading down is, that the Bears had done such an efficient job building out their bench and effectively using their salary cap space. There's a really good chance that some of those, that 6th round pick especially, and even the running back from the 7th round, they might not even make the team.
Correct.
Right. So it's like, well, what was the point of trading down if you're going to draft players who are going to end up on a practice squad? And,
That's
it's like,
that's the other thing I don't really like around this time. Like I've been reading so many articles. They're trying to hype this kid up in the 7th round. I'm like, he's a 7th rounder for a reason. Like stop trying to make me convinced like that he's going to be this breakout star. What it was probably most likely going to happen is he's going to go into the preseason, maybe do a couple flashy plays, and he's going to sit on our practice squad. Like I'm not.
to be fair to that kid, the running back position was so deep this year that 7th rounder was probably a 5th rounder a couple of years ago. Right?
Yeah.
So there is, you gotta take some of this stuff with a grain of salt, right? There were some positions that were much better than others, and something the opposite might happen next year. Right?
Yeah.
Let me. We saw. We really saw this with Shedeur Sanders, by the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll let you take the wheel and let me segue a little bit, but I believe articles that sat there and said that if he was out last year's QB class, he would have been ranked 7th. Right? I honestly do believe that, right? I mean, Shedeur, for as good as he did in college, he wasn't highly recruited out of high school, again, he doesn't have elite size or at least elite arm strength. So a lot of the quarterbacks last year were just head and shoulders above him. Now, granted, he came in this year. But there were probably teams that did not have a 1st round grade on him.
He's better than JJ McCarthy. He is better than JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy benefited from a team around him. He's definitely better than JJ McCarthy. I'd say I think he's probably not as strong of an arm, but at least he's definitely more mobile than Michael Penix. I mean, he can still do a lot of things that Michael Penix. So here's the thing. We don't really need to talk about a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy anymore. The article already came out. They've already confirmed that owners told GMs not to draft this man. So
sure.
It's not. This is no longer this. Oh, this is what we thought happened. No, they did it. And you can say for whatever reason, maybe Deion was too involved. You could say that they didn't want the distraction. He was too big-headed. But here, you can't tell me that Jackson Dart had a better season or has more talent than Shedeur Sanders. That's the quarterbacks that went before him. You can only make one argument, and that's Cam Ward. That's the only argument that's acceptable. Everybody else, no. This was a organized attack. Now, like I said, if you want to talk about it, the cockiness, the arrogance, confidence, whatever you want to call it, this was a organized attack. They were trying to make a statement. So I don't know if there's anything. Look, it's your team. You can do what you want, whatever. I don't we have to sit back and just watch it. But it was utterly disgusting seeing it happen. Because you didn't do it to anybody else. You didn't do it to Eli Manning. You didn't do it to John Elway. You didn't do it to anybody else that came out like this.
Yeah.
Even Johnny Manziel, who had more issues off the field than Shedeur, went in the 1st round. Bottom of the 1st round, but he went in the 1st round. And he had way more issues.
Yep.
Way more issues than Shedeur. Now, you want to say Shedeur, he just likes the camera? Okay, so did Deion. What do you think he wasn't going to act like his father? Yes. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. This is a perfect example of that. But when you look at his stats, 3,700 yards passing, 30 plus touchdowns, and single digit interceptions, and you're saying this man is not talented? Stop it. Stop it. We're not doing this. And especially when Johnny Manziel goes in the 1st round. Tim Tebow goes in the 1st round. We can go down the list of trash quarterbacks. I'm sorry. Who's the kid that Zach Wilson, BYU? What are we talking about? There's quarterbacks that you can list, and you go time and time again that went in the 1st round because teams are desperate for quarterbacks. Now all of a sudden, Pittsburgh is going to go into the season without a quarterback because you wanted to be. Stop it! Come on now.
Well, and put Pittsburgh
Cleveland
to the side for a minute.
Quarterback before him.
Yeah, put Pittsburgh for assignment. The team that I think should be embarrassed is actually the New Orleans Saints, right?
There's another one. Yeah.
Who drafted, and I had to pull him up because I cannot remember this guy in college. I don't remember him being elite in anything. Tyler Shua, okay, who, by the way, and this is a fun fact, was a 7th-year senior.
Jesus Christ.
He's actually older. And I'm not making this up. He is older than Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, my God.
That's who they want to roll the dice with this year. Because, obviously, a few days ago, Derek Carr said, okay, I'm hanging it up. Do not tell him, I will not accept it, that they said that they didn't know that this was going to happen. Back in the draft, they were having those conversations because it was actually a negotiation, right? He wanted to keep some of his salary, and so they had to like negotiate exactly the exit package, right? So we got a nice little bonus, and then New Orleans gets some cap space relief, but they're going into next year with this Showa kid. They're going to end up with the first pick of the draft again, and then do the whole thing over again. So, honestly,
we still have Archie at that point.
Well, that's the funny thing, funniest thing of all. They're going to they're my favorite to go first overall next year. And what are you going to do? Say no to Arch Manning, he was, and I'm sorry, you can spin it the same way you want. He would have been the first pick of the draft this year for sure. Probably the first pick of the draft the previous year as well. So it's going to be.
You're just drafting on potential at that point.
Who?
For Archie Manning? What are you drafting on him the year before?
I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to light things up. Now that he's got the reins fully in.
I don't look. I'm not arguing that.
I got no doubts about that. I got no doubts about that.
I'm just talking about this year. Especially when the reports already came out, owners were telling GMs don't do it. The report's already out, so like we don't have to speculate. This isn't like an assumption. This is this was a organized, targeted attack. This is what it was.
I sit there and I think about okay, let's talk about Archie Manning, right? Obviously he did this with Eli, right? Mm-hmm. He sat there and he goes, hey, I don't want him to go to San Diego. I want him to go to New York, and he forced a trade.
But he still went number one. He still got picked number one.
And I'm not saying Shedeur wasn't completely shafted, right? I'm just sitting there saying there are two differences that I do want to point out. Yeah. Archie Manning didn't do this with Peyton. And my theory on why kind of gives at least a partial explanation of Shedeur's, at least part of why he fell. If you recall, when Peyton Manning was going into the draft, he wasn't the clear-cut number one, right? Yeah, there were a lot of teams. Now, of course, hindsight's 20/20, but there were a lot of teams that preferred Ryan Leaf.
Of course,
he was taller, he was stronger, faster, all of it. He was a basket head, but there were teams that sat there and said that's number one QB on our list. If you don't have the lock it down number one guy, what leverage do you have to sit there and demand, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go here, go there? And then if you're not the number one guy and you still do that, it does come off as kind of antagonistic, right? And again, Archie did not do it with Peyton, right? I'm not saying he didn't do it with Eli. He did do it with Eli, right? And and I'm going to try to segue a little bit later, but I think this is an important point. We saw reports just yesterday that even Caleb was having these thoughts about trying to force himself off of the team picking number one, right? I mean, there was a trend, there was a progression of situations. And there was talk that, I want Caleb to go to Minnesota, not to the Bears.
I can't wait to
Didn't happen.
I'm going to watch. Right? I'm going to read that book. I'm gonna read that one.
No, it just came out yesterday.
No. But there's an article stemming from a book that's going to be released. So that
correct.
So in September. Oh no, trust me, I read that in full detail because I wanted to know what happened. And yeah, his father, Carl Williams, decided that he wanted to go through lawyers. He talked to Archie. He did everything. Caleb Williams. And it was funny because those reports that came out that his camp was trying to do everything not to be drafted by the Bears. People were trying to shoot that down, and like it's funny that it all comes out like, oh no, you really were, and up until the pre-draft interview is when you decided, oh no, I think I could do this. I think I could.
If I remember the article correctly, Ryan Poles told that team, I'm still taking you. Yes. I don't care.
Correct. Yes, he's going to take him, but he convinced him that you would be a part of this rebuild. You would be instrumental.
He had to do a little bit of selling job, which
of course.
In theory,
he's look. I know we've kind of segued, but I mean, he's executed on every one of his points, right? So you fire the horrible OC, you fire the horrible head coach, then you bring in the top elite offensive mind.
Yeah.
And then everything about this offseason has been around the offense. Everything. Yeah. You've sprinkled a couple pieces in the defense, but everything has been about the offense. You get 3 new offensive linemen. You get a brand new shiny little wide receiver. You get a brand new shiny little tight end. Like everything is about you, my guy.
Do you want to hear something interesting? This is the first time in 10 years where the salary cap expenditures have favored the offense over the defense.
I'm with it.
Think about that. That's, at the end of the day, when you make a salary cap decision, you spend A at the expense of not being able to spend B. So they threw the kitchen sink at fixing the offensive line and getting a couple more weapons. Yeah, they threw a little bone with the new DN, but at the end, it's still. It's the three first picks of the draft this year were all offense.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dennis Allen, he's a kind of low man totem pole right now.
I mean, he better do something. And I mean, at the end of the day, we just the way the NFL is right now. All we need is your defense to hold. Like, I mean, they're going to get up yards. They're going to put up points. Just hold a little bit. If you can score points. Then unlike the Cincinnati Bengals, but I mean, other than them, that ridiculous team that's scoring 50 plus points and losing games is insanity. But as long as you're not like that outlier, you should be fine. If we can put up the points, we should be fine. But I mean, we'll see.
Well, look, I'm pulling up our schedule. I do sit there and I wonder if some of this was to placate Caleb a little bit, right?
Well, you have to.
I find that article, I find the timing of this book very fascinating. Right?
Yeah,
because it's like, oh man, this came out of nowhere. What do you mean? Caleb's dad was trying to be instrumental about this, and like I said, I sit there and I think about Deion and Shedeur, and it's like, what went wrong there? If this is even remotely true, why wasn't Caleb thrown to the 5th round along with them? Like, I don't know. I do think talent played, one little sliver of this. One other thing, I think.
Would we have been mad at our second option, the Heisman winner? We wouldn't be. I mean, that was like that was the perfect draft to do that. If you were going to do it, you still would have ended up fine because, okay, all right, fine. You don't want to come to us? Take Jaden. Yeah.
Well, first of all, Caleb was also a Heisman winner. And remember, contrary to Shedeur, A, he's got a Heisman, and B, he was highly touted out of high school. Like, they knew he was a hotshot player coming out of high school, right? Remember, Jaden. Gosh, even Washington really wanted Jaden. They wanted Caleb. They offered the Bears 3 first-round picks, and Poles said no. Right? I mean, again, hindsight's 2020. Now, would Jaden had done what? Would Jaden had a better year than Caleb did last year with our offensive line and the scheme they were running? I don't know. My guess is no. I remember one of the reasons I didn't like Jaden was his injury history is horrible, right? Twice he's a fifth year senior, right? He's 2 years older than Caleb. So he didn't check every box. There was some risk baked into the cake when they selected him. Now, of course, hindsight's 2020. He had an incredible year. There's even some people saying that he should be the number one pick in fantasy this year. I think that's crazy, but I at least understand it.
Yeah.
And regardless, let me again. I want to try to finish our Shedeur convo. With Shedeur, he didn't have the thoroughbred athleticism. He didn't have the Heisman Trophy on a shelf.
I'm sorry. What did you say? You said he didn't have the thoroughbred athleticism.
Do you want to take a guess? Well, how many star ratings he was in high school?
Wait. All right, so maybe we need to define athleticism, because like you're talking about high school grade versus what we saw him do in college behind a makeshift O line.
Again, a lot of his evaluation this year did try to bake that a little bit into the cake, right? I mean, there should have been teams that had a first round grade on him. I didn't think he was going to fall out of the back end of the first round. I didn't think the 26-year-old Louisville quarterback no one's ever heard of before was going to get selected 3 rounds ahead of him. Mm-hmm. Or the 5'9" QB out of Oregon 3 rounds ahead of him on the same team, right? So he got. I mean, listen. Personally, I think he got completely hosed because you can make an argument Cleveland was the worst place to go to, and on top of it, now he's on a team that's got another rookie quarterback who was selected 3 rounds before him. Mm. So he does not have an ideal situation to start his career
with 3 other veterans. Like, what's going on here?
3 veterans, right? One of them they just signed, and another one still owed $80 million on his contract. So what do you do? What do you do? He definitely got hosed. There is no doubt about that, right? But again, I sit there and I wonder why the hell did this happen? And I do think the fact that he wasn't the number one clear-cut QB had a role. I do think, and this is one aspect that I only hear murmurs about, but I really think it's way more important than you think. When Deion talked about how he would love to be coach his son in professional, right? I'm the coach for the Giants, knowing I should have been fired last year and I'm in a hot seat now. Are you really gonna draft your potential replacement like that? That'd be just stupid, right? I mean, this is corporate politics 101. You're the guys who can take your job and replace you. You figure out how to get them as far away from you as possible, especially if you're incompetent, right? So I wasn't surprised that the Giants passed on him. I was surprised New Orleans and Pittsburgh did, but that's
absolutely.
I mean, what exactly was Pittsburgh's concern about Deion taking it? No, stop. That's stupid. And what's worse is, and mind you, Aaron Rodgers still hasn't said yes. Why would you give Aaron Rodgers unlimited
New York did it
negotiation? He's going to win the negotiation 100%. He just made an extra. He just paid them an extra $10 million. Why not take Shedeur in the 3rd round just so things don't go awry with Aaron Rodgers? I mean, it's just bananas. I don't understand. I didn't understand Pittsburgh at all.
Yeah, no, it's a ridiculous thing. But I mean, draft's done. Now we have to look ahead.
Yeah,
schedule got released. Look at that. Schedule got released, so we get to see what we're looking at.
You know what I found the most interesting thing about the schedule release? And obviously these things are not set in stone, right? I mean, the team who finished with 10 wins last year isn't necessarily going to finish with 10 wins this year, and vice versa. But do you know what team for some ungodly reason, ended up with the hardest schedule in the NFL?
Cleveland and New York, 1 and 2.
Yeah, the Giants. The Giants.
Giants and Cleveland. Yep, 1 and 2.
I mean,
1 and 2.
I hope I forget the coach of the Giants right now, Badu or something like that.
Ben something. Oh no, Brian Daboll.
Daboll. I hope
coordinator from Buffalo.
I hope he's not choosing to buy real estate in New York this year.
No,
because he is not finishing the year on that team.
But I mean,
I have no idea what's going through his mind, but good for him. Just get ready to move. Just get ready to move.
In all honesty, this schedule, I'm looking at it like we got a rough one here, boys. Like this is
well, to be fair, you have to remember all 4 teams in the NL Central have a rough schedule.
But I mean,
right? We have to face each other twice a year, right? I mean, even out of that, we got Dallas. 3 playoff teams. We have 6 games against 3 playoff teams. Yeah, that's not going to change after week 1. I mean, in fact, we're going to find out early. We're going to find out early if this situation with Caleb has gotten much better, because we face the Vikings Monday Night Football.
It's Monday night, and then the very next game we're in Detroit.
We're gonna know right off the bat. We're 0-2. We can start hyperventilating. We're 2-0. We can start low key having a mini celebration, because
we got Dallas after that too. Hey, we get to face them Cowboys. Look at that. But they come to Chicago though. They come to
Chicago.
And then
what about by the way, one of the low key genius moves in free agent in the offseason, the Cowboys slipped it in there at the last minute. I think George Pickens for them as the number 2 wide receiver was low key brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, good for them.
He was miscast as the number 1 guy.
Like they'll still mess it up, so I don't really care. Cowboys always will figure it out. Dak is gonna throw a couple interceptions, like whatever.
They'll mess it up in the playoffs. That's standard. That's just baked in the.
Why do we have another prime time with Washington though? That I don't want to see them in prime time at all ever again. Jesus.
Well, how many times does that play rewind and replayed? I don't know.
That was literally the downfall of our season. Do you realize we were 4-2 at that game? That was the downfall of our season, like the absolute downfall. After that, we couldn't catch a break.
We lost 6 1-score games in a row.
Like that was the hands down downfall of our game, or of our season. Like I don't.
And you know what's interesting about that situation, and I remember even having a conversation with you about it. It was a disastrous game, but there was still time to turn things around. And I remember specifically saying the fact that the Bears had very little veteran leadership, I really think showed during that slide. I really do believe that. I mean, DJ Moore. I'm sorry, DJ Moore's at 27, right? He's never been part of a playoff team. He's not the veteran leader. He's a great guy, great player. Yep. But low key, the pickup of Joe Thuney, who has 3 Super Bowl rings and 3 Pro Bowl appearances. I mean, that's gonna speak volumes in the development of the offensive line, and of course, Grady Jackson, Grady Jarrett. And
Johnny Jackson.
That was the other. That's the Jonah Jackson's is the guard. Sorry, Grady Garrett.
On the other side,
being picked up at the defensive line, who's already made a name for himself with his attitude, and I've already seen articles that people they've gravitated towards him on OTAs, and he's already a lock it in captain. So. And again, although he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring, he has been to the show, and he's got a couple Pro Bowl appearances. So I think it's that was a very important move that the Bears enacted. Right, they needed to bring more gravitas to both the defense and the offense, so we can avoid these mental mistakes. I mean, when we sit there and think about how many one-score games we lost, you flip half of them, you're low, you're 500, and then the whole offseason gets a different context and conversation.
Yeah, no, it should be interesting. And I think, I mean, you have that leadership. I think that's going to be a big thing. I think look, I told you last year or right before the season, we talked about the candidates. I wasn't high on Ben Johnson just because I wanted something to experience. I'm tired of doing these gambles on these coordinators. Because I mean, if people don't remember, Matt Nagy was the hot shot coordinator coming
That's
out,
true.
and that flamed horribly, like horribly. So I just want people to remember, like, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. We don't really know how this is gonna go. And actually, the funny thing is about this, we did the same thing with Matt Nagy. Who did we pair Matt Nagy up with? Vic Fangio, right? So we got this veteran coach, so that, hey, all he has to do is control the defense. You control the offense. What do we do now? Dennis Allen, you figure out the defense. Ben, you fix the offense. I have this just cautious because we've seen this story before. Literally, we did the exact same thing. We fired an aging defensive coordinator turned head coach. So John Fox fired him after we drafted a quarterback he didn't really want, right? And then you bring in somebody to fix said quarterback, and that flames out. What do we do this year? Oh, we draft a quarterback that we don't know if Matt Eberflus actually wanted. We don't know how he was going to handle it because he walked in with Justin Fields. So then that happened. So then we fire him midseason, and then we bring in somebody that's supposed to fix Caleb.
So let me rewind 1 second, because I know you brought up Matt Nagy. I know you were disappointed at how his tenure ended, but I do want to bring up one particular point.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, he did win Coach of the Year in 2018.
Not because of him. They went 12-4.
That's an individual record.
He had the statistically best defensive in the league. Vic Fangio carried that team. Mitch Trubisky was average at best. He didn't fix the offense. That offense was ranked in the mid-20s. He didn't fix anything. He rode the coattails of Khalil Mack, Hakeem Hicks.
Can I give you a what if? Can I just give you one what if? I'm not saying what ifs are appropriate, but let me give you a what if.
Sure.
What if the double doink never happened, and they actually win that game? Hold on.
Yeah.
You remember who they lost the double doink to? Do you remember who?
Yes, we all know.
Exactly. Who won the Super Bowl that year?
Look, and here's the thing: we could have said absolutely, because if we won that game, you know who our next opponent was? LA, who we beat earlier in the season because we knew how to stop Jared Goff at that time. Yes. Absolutely. We all know the hypothetical.
If we are in the Super Bowl, if we win that Super Bowl, this conversation is completely different.
You're absolutely right. But here's the problem. Cody Parkey missed 11 field goals that season.
I understand.
And then in the playoffs, what did it come down to? Him. And after we know this man has missed 11 field goals.
Yeah.
So you knew that was happening, and you did nothing about it mid-season. After he missed the sixth one, you should have been like, "Oh, there's a problem. We should fix this."
Well,
we all saw it, and we all saw when it came down to it. It's like, "Yep, this is gonna be some bullshit." Like, okay.
I mean, fixing the special teams is an underrated skill, and you are right about that. Cody Parkey, they should have known a problem was there long before that. And let's be honest, once you get to the playoff time, everybody's close, right? No one's no one's significantly better per se generally, and a field goal can make a difference, and obviously it did. And again, I'm not sitting there saying Matt Nagy is underrated per se. At the end of the day, he got his tenure was defined. His tenure was defined by how poor of a draft choice Mitch Trubisky was.
Could you find a picture with him actually in a Bears sweatshirt? I feel like.
Who was that? Was that Ben Johnson? That wasn't Ben Johnson.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. How much you want to bet? How much you bet? That was Ben Johnson.
Have you seen
that was definitely Ben Johnson.
That was Ben.
Have you seen that beam yet with Ben Johnson? The meme was it showed his bright face on day one when everyone's like cheering for him when he's walking to the door, and then it showed his face on day 30.
Oh yeah,
looking like he's already been through the war, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy he signed up for a lot. He signed up for a
city. That's what we do. This is what it is.
Yeah, I listen. I hear you about
Vegas has us 8.5. That's all. It's a risk. Vegas has us 8.5. That's all I got to know about it. That means we ain't done nothing. There he is.
Look at it. There it is.
There it is.
Look at the guy. There it is. Dude. This guy's been in the foxhole.
Look, Vegas has us 8.5. If Vegas has us 8.5 in the season, like that tells me all I need to know. Like I'm pumping the brakes. If Vegas has you 8.5, that means anything is overachieving. Anything. Like so, I'm not doing this. I'll wait. I'll wait and see. We'll wait.
Well, like I said, just a few moments ago, we're gonna know immediately. It's on national television. Everyone's gonna see it. If we can barely score 10 points against Minnesota, which isn't crazy because they did have a top-notch defense last year, and we lose that game on national television, the media's gonna hound this poor man like crazy, right? Like, what are you doing? All this money we spent, what's going on? Blah 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 blah.
The odds may not be in our favor, but you know whose odds were in their favor?
Who?
The good old Dallas Mavericks. Did you
my God, I know him.
You see what I did there, though? That was
good.
I can do segues too.
That one.
I can do segues too.
Do you know? Let me throw a poker trivia at you. Do you know what the statistical odds of hitting a one-outer on the river is?
Tell me, what is it?
1.9%. Do you know what the odds of the Mavericks winning that first pick was?
Less than that. 1.8.
1.8.
Less than that. Right?
How many? I'm going to ask you a question. Let's think about this for a second. How many one-outers have you hit in your poker career? Think about it.
So I've been playing for over 20 years. 2.
I've had 1.
2. Look at him! Oh my God!
And
look at him smiling.
I'm not a big conspiracy buff.
I am. The NBA's rigged. It's rigged. They gave it to him.
I'm not a big conspiracy buff, but conspiracies have been baked into this NFL draft lottery since the beginning, right? The infamous, it was a frozen envelope back when the Knicks won the Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing, yeah.
But let me tell you something that I found extremely fascinating.
Derrick Rose, LeBron was the one that they gave. They gave that one too.
Well, let me tell you something I find very fascinating. In 2011, New Orleans was forced to trade, and in his prime, Chris Paul off 4 consecutive All-Star games to the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
The next year, against all odds, New Orleans gets the first pick of the draft.
They get Anthony Davis.
New Orleans again, 8 years later, trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers.
Yep. That
same year, again, against all odds, they get the first pick. This is the Zion pick.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those players were the best draft pick arguably over 5 years either direction.
By far, yeah.
And now here we go again. Dallas trading Luka to another Los Angeles team.
Which a trade that nobody thought or should have happened.
Yeah. And all of a sudden they get the first pick. Now, again, I'm not a big believer in coincidences. Those are a lot of coincidences.
No,
Just,
no. I
at
say
the end of the day, the NBA is a business.
Cooper
They
Flag.
know that having a good team in Los Angeles is good for business, and facilitating that stuff with the first pick of a lottery, by the way. And this is the part where I do cry bullshit at some conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Because I think that whole show is nonsense. Oh, let's reveal the placards. Why do you got to reveal the placards? Why not just show the lottery the lottery balls? Why are we segregated from that? It's like, oh, this is faster. No, it's not. They put 2 commercial breaks in that damn thing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They do that. It takes like a half an hour.
I saw the stat. So they looked at the last 5 years. Do you know the high statistical percentage has never won the first round, the first overall pick? Like in the last 5 drafts.
I
know they have, but in the last 5 drafts, they have not the highest statistic to get the first overall has not done it.
I know. And the thing is, they sit there and say, "Oh, it's so we can avoid tanking." Teams tanked their asses off last year. What are you talking about? Yeah. If I'm a Utah Jazz fan, I'm not low key. I'm absolutely pissed because they know they knew what the Jazz were doing. The Jazz were putting everybody on IR and losing every game on purpose. Why? Because the next great white hope was available, and they wanted him to be the new star of their team.
So
now
I'm confused about this, and maybe you could help me understand. I don't understand what's the problem with tanking. Like, here's the thing. Like, I understand because it doesn't necessarily affect the NFL as a whole, right? Now that fan base is probably going to be pretty crappy about it, but at the end of the day, it should only really affect them. Like, if a team knows they're going to the season, most teams that know they're about to go into like a rebuild tank situation, they know it's coming. Like, right? You've gotten rid of your best players. You don't have a quarterback. This is kind of like that area where it's like, all right, this is you see the writings on the wall, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with your perspective.
As the whole for the NFL. Like, when we saw who was the most recent tank, like Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. When they did it, it didn't affect the NFL. No, like it only affected Jacksonville. No, we weren't watching Jacksonville games anyway. Who cares? Like, we don't care about you. Go tank for Trevor Lawrence. Nobody cares. The
devil's advocate point on that, and I'm not saying I disagree with you, right? I'm just giving the devil advocate perspective.
Yeah, with it.
The NBA an NBA team can be affected by one player way more than football or baseball or any other sport.
Sure.
Right? In years where there is a clear top tier talent, I understand the notion that you don't want you don't want teams to purposely play poorly just so they can rebuild the next year. And I'm not saying that that shouldn't be their right, because let me tell you an interesting story. I used to work for this French multinational, and I was having now. I'm asking this seriously. Did you know there's no such thing as a draft in any European sport?
Correct. Yes, I did. Yes, most of them they pull them directly from it. Yeah,
it's laissez-faire. You can sign 13-year-old as long as you have the money.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Do you know what happens to a last place team in let's say Premier League in England, the main soccer league, which is actually technically the most profitable league in the world. What happens to the last? Not even just the last place team, the bottom three teams. What do you think happens to them?
Nothing. What? I don't.
No.
They get fined.
They get regulated. In other words, they get sent to the minors. No, this is what happens. They get sent to the minors, right? They call it the Champions League there, and the top three teams from the minors get up converted to the majors.
That's hilarious.
Okay,
That's hilarious. I like it. I dig it. I'm with it.
Well, think about it. All of a sudden, do you know how much money? You know how much money a team would lose if all of a sudden they're no longer the major leagues? They have to go to be in the minor leagues.
Millions.
Yeah. Now you got it. I assure you, there's no tanking in soccer. Nothing. Yeah. Zero.
Yeah.
Because there's no incentive, right?
Like my thing about it is, like I said, I've seen it happen in the NFL, and it has no impact because as soon as the Jags get Trevor Lawrence, they're right back in like the conversation. Like it is what it is. So my thing about it is, if you're trying to prevent tanking, I don't understand as a league as a whole. I don't know what those numbers look like. I don't know what that statistics look like. But the Utah not being good, did that have any impact on the league? Like nobody cared about Utah.
If they were trying a little bit harder, maybe they went extra 5 games. It wouldn't have mattered one way or the other.
Who cares? Look at Ted Lasso. That was your picture. That was what you decided.
You know what's funny is if you ever watch that show, they do actually explain that concept, right?
Yeah.
The concept of being regulated.
You do whatever you like. Live.
But when I was talking to this exec from this French company, I explained to him that in U.S. sports we have a draft. Mm-hmm. In U.S. sports, we have age limits to start in the league. Mm-hmm. We have salary cap. They don't have salary cap in soccer. They can spend whatever the hell they want. Some of these teams are owned by these Saudi princes. They don't have a budget. They make the Boston Celtics and the Dodgers look like cheapskates.
Yeah.
He's sitting here. What do you mean? Why would they lose on purpose? Because they get rewarded. What do you mean they get rewarded? Think about that. Think about this in the context of America and the ideology of right-wing politics. He said one word to me. I don't understand. This is socialism. This is socialism. Do you not understand? That's socialism. He's completely 100% correct. The NFL, Major League Baseball, they practice socialism in a country that hates it. Right? It's one of my more fascinating sports concepts. Right? We sit there, we talk about tanking, and say it's a good thing. What? I'm not disagreeing with you. I think teams should take whatever action they deem appropriate.
Do what you gotta
do to build out, right? I mean, one of the I think I told you in the past, the reason I hate what the freaking Bulls have done each of the last 10 years is they ride to the middle.
They stay mid.
They want to stay there.
Mid. They stay mid.
You're never going to become a championship team. You're never going to get shitty, right? You'll just stay in the middle forever, and they don't care because they sell out the stadium. It's like, well, okay, cool. You'll be mid forever as long as that ownership's still in place, And in theory, I remember when they traded Zach LaVine. I said, trade them all. They should have.
Go for broke.
Go for broke. By the way, did you know this little tidbit about the lottery? This is true. The Bulls and the Mavericks finished with the exact same record. Now, the way they handle it with so the lottery is your odds are based on the number of ping pong balls that would be in your favor, right?
Yeah.
The bylaws say no team can have the exact same number of ping pong balls. So the Bulls and the Mavericks flipped a quarter 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
The winner of that quarter got an extra ping pong ball.
Jesus. And of course.
That was the ping pong ball that won.
Of course it was. Of course it was. It is. Of course.
Right? We lost. No, I'm not saying that was the magic ping pong ball.
No,
And
we lost by-
if the Bulls had won, we would have that pick. But well, like I said, let's go back to the beginning. I think this whole thing was. I truly, and I know it sounds crazy, but you cannot convince me that this was not something that's rigged. I'm sorry.
So the people not watching, it's just the results of the Dallas Mavericks #1, San Antonio 76ers. It's just a crapshoot. Like,
well, do you know what the other fallout of that lottery? Right? I mean, everyone's concentrating on Dallas, but San Antonio beat the odds as well to get all the way to #2.
Yeah.
Guess who's going to be available in the trade market this summer? And all of a sudden, San Antonio is sitting here with a premium draft pick as trade fodder.
Oh, look at that. Giannis.
You put Giannis next to Wemby, there is no way anyone's scoring on that team. They're going to be the #1 defense in the league. It's not going to be particularly close.
It's not too bad.
They were already a top 10 defense without him. With Trash at the 4, right? And obviously Milwaukee needs to retool. They've been speculating it since they got eliminated a week and a half ago. That he's my pound for pound favorite. And I think I told you I was low key doing a little cross that the Bulls might throw their hat into that ring, but with San Antonio now dangling the #2 pick for and that #2 pick is a pretty good one too, right? So if I'm Milwaukee and I'm looking to rebuild, that's a pretty good starting point. San Antonio can offer 2 lottery picks this year, and they're going to be one of the favorites for the NBA championship next year if that happens. So it's actually one of my predictions coming out of this draft. So it's going to be interesting.
Not mad at it. All right. Well, before we run out of time, well, it looks like we're already. What else we got on this docket? What did he send us? we got the Pope. We got Shador. We got blah 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 blah. What do you got? Mavs. All that. Just oh, my bread and butter. Oh, look at that.
Oh, you're
my bread and butter, baby. Look at this. After a long hiatus. I don't know. Most people don't really care about it on this podcast because we don't really talk about it. We don't talk about it. But I mean, once in a blue, like once a while, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Oh my God, we ran one of the funnest, largest underground poker games. See, and this is why. So we had a conversation a couple months ago. Javon tried his damnedest to get me to talk about underground poker, and I refused to it. And mainly because I was like, you know what? I don't see the community in that manner. Well, so we're doing something. We're doing a one night only event where Studio 72 is being resurrected. Oh, so exciting. And the response that I've received from the poker community is almost overwhelming.
Oh, that's
like
funny.
Overwhelming, like to the amount of people that are saying, glad you're doing this again, glad you're coming back. And I've had to correct them, like, wait. Wait, this is a one night little extravaganza. Somebody convinced me of it to do it, and we're gonna do it, right? And so we're gonna go up. But it's amazing the amount of people that want to work this game, want to be a part of this game.
Oh wow.
There it is. Look at
Well,
that.
you know,
Organite, the Studio 72.
nostalgia is a powerful thing, right? I mean,
But absolutely. Look at that.
we
That's a
sit
wonderful
there.
flyer too. Look, AI generated and whatnot. It's a wonderful flyer. I like
That's
it.
funny.
Like
I
it.
like the other flyer
With
with the
the
girl.
five
I'm like,
aces.
hello, that. No, I don't know. I
Five
don't
aces.
know.
I got a monster of a hand. I got 5 aces in my hand. Like, this is beautiful.
Oh,
It's
5
like-
aces.
You know,
Okay.
it's 5 aces. Look, this is how they do. Look, I am like excited about the responses that we've gotten. All right, this is and I think people just realize how much like effort we put into making these games bigger, better. The way we treated people, the way like we very how we appreciated everybody that walked through the door, right? And so I think we see that with some of the responses. We just started inviting this week and earlier this week, and people were just yes. You should at least do this once a month. And I'm like, calm down.
Calm down now.
Calm down.
Well, like I said, nostalgia.
Javon will be there. I'm going to
Nostalgia's-
kidnap Javon. Like, no, I don't like that little ticker. Javon will be there. He's trying to say for our listeners, Javon will not be there, but that is a lie because I will kidnap him. He will be there.
Let me give you an example. May the 4th saw a theatrical re-release of Revenge of the Sith. They made $20 million for a movie that's been
for a movie 20 years old. For like what, over 20 years old. And so, like I said,
something you could find. I think I got a DVD somewhere. I mean, it flabbergasted me. And but you know, again, nostalgia is a powerful thing. People like when you actually give a chance to miss something, you know, you appreciate it more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's fascinating because I've said this in like private conversations. There's something like there's people in here that can make great games. There's a lot of runners that I tip my hat off to because they understand how to make a party, make it good. But I mean, I think there's a lot of runners that have like kind of missed the buck, right? And they prioritize the wrong thing, right?
Sure.
And so when you have somebody that deeply cares about like even the venue that I'm at, I've had conversations with him, like where we talked about like some of the things like, oh no, I think you should do it this way because like again, the product is what's important, right? It's what you present to people. That's what they're gonna remember. All right. So it's certain things of art. How as a player walking into the room, from everything that you see, how do you feel when you see that? And that's how you should go about creating the event. And so I think we did a hell of a job. And like I said, the responses that we gotten, I mean, it's going to be a packed house. It's going to be a party, and I'm excited. And we are going to kidnap Javon. He will be there. Okay. Studio 72 is back for at least one night only. For one night, and I'm excited. Okay. I can't wait.
Well, you know, it's like I said, it's been a hectic 2 weeks for sports, man. I mean, we had our lottery show. I'm sorry, the draft show. I love the drafts.
The draft was great.
It was, and just a segue a little. I think I told you this before. This year's drafts was the highest rated one ever. It actually received 20% higher ratings than game 5, the deciding game for the NBA Finals last year. You know, and I got to tell you, and I've said before that, you know, I've been in corporate America long enough. I assure you, and this is again going back to why I think that lottery is rigged. I assure you, the corporate marketing people in the NBA saw that. It freaked them the hell out.
Yeah,
and they're like, we got to figure something out to get out from under that because they'll end up burying us, right? And the ratings keep slipping, and they're like, what can we do to combat this? I know. Let's make a big trade nobody even thinks about.
Yep.
And rig the lottery to reward that team that actually sent that asset somewhere else.
Of course you did.
And look, low key worked. That's all we were talking about for 48 hours after that lottery.
Oh, 100%.
What the hell? How did Luka get there? What the hell is Luka doing over there? That's insane. Wait a second. They have the first pick. Well, whoa! How the hell did that happen? I mean, like I said, we talked between me and you. We have about 40 years of poker experience, and the one outer has happened 3 times. We said it's happened to me once.
Yeah.
And you say twice. So that's that's pretty crazy. I mean, we're talking about 40 years. We're not talking about
No, it's that.
And there was that one time when EJ could have won us $30,000 at Choctaw, but
I can't count that one. I didn't make the call. That would have been my other one outer. That would have been my third one outer.
Your third one outer, you would have got there and you pansied out.
Bad beat, baby. Bad beat. Quads over quads. The casino would have paid me. Paid me.
Whoa. I mean, I didn't.
Everybody at that table would have got paid, including the man, our producer. He was sitting in the 9 seat. No, he was. I'm sorry. Yes, he was sitting in the 9 seat. I remember. And
I was in the 7th seat.
Was it the 7th? Okay. Oh, yep. But you were under the you were no, you were right. You were the cutoff right before the button.
Yep.
That's what it was. And then I had pocket sevens. If I just make the call, it's $30K. It's $30K right then and there. But all right, it is what it is.
One hell of a night that would have been.
Smart poker instead of the donkey EJ poker, but that's fine. That's fine.
Even though he was donkey the whole night.
I tried to play smart. But whatever.
When did the set hit? The turn?
So we both. So the guy ended up having it was pocket kings versus pocket jacks, and I would have had pocket sevens. The flop was 3 jack 7. The turn is a jack. The river is the 7.
Oh no! But you weren't even in the flop.
I wasn't even on the. If I'm in the flop, there's no question. We're here.
Yeah.
Fine. I'm here now. He played every single hand, Nico, the entire time and folded that one. I couldn't believe it.
What was it all in pre?
It was all in.
Yes, it was like $20.
No, stop. No, I'm the one who raised 15. Kings raised all in for 150. Jacks went over the top for 350. Now, to be fair, my profit was about 400. So I was only gambling my profit. So I could have done it.
Yeah, I wanted. Listen, Javon, this is why bad beats pay so well. I wouldn't have been in there either. I'll tell you right now, there's 0% chance. 0%.
And I was trying to play smart.
A 4-bet pot with $300. Oh no, I've been gone.
I was trying to play smart, but that's fine. It is what it is. Anyways, that's it for us boys and girls. Look at here. It's a hell of a show. Guys. Is that right? Look, there's always fun doing virtual every now and again. Nothing wrong with that. Look. My God. I'm done with you. You know what? I'm not even going to describe that to the people at home. Goodbye. I
want to know. What the hell?
I hate our producer. He's a horrible human being. I hope he breaks his ankle. I really do. Just for that. I hope he break your ankle. Goodbye. I'm signing off.
I'll see you tomorrow.